Tuesday, the first day of practice. This day, anglers would explore the mighty Arkansas River, turned muddy and fast-flowing by recent heavy rains, and test their fishing strategies. Pre-tournament speculation had established 4 local anglers: David Langley of Little Rock, Ron Shuffield of Bismarck, Johnny Langford of Springdale, and the defending champion Joe Yates of Barling, Arkansas, as favorites to win the All-American. However, as time would bear witness, the unpredictable Arkansas would yield no advantage to the home state anglers. The watery playing field and the cold front that had arrived overnight would prove to be problems. Fishing was tough, the Arkansas current unyielding, making fishing the main channel, where most anglers scouting information held there were fish, impossible. Adapting to the situation, anglers began their search for fish, running their Ranger boats miles downriver in pursuit of fishable water. Many were forced to lock through the Army Corps of Engineers locks, which would later prove to be a major factor in this year's All-American. At the end of the first practice round, most told the same story.
My practice days, my first day was very poor. I spent an awful lot of time running, and I didn't catch any fish at all.
The pre-tournament favorites also found conditions less than productive.
A lot of the places that I had a lot of confidence in going into this thing will be completely backwards now. The water flow is going to, like I said, change. It's cut more than in half, and I'm just anxious to get on the water again tomorrow and just kind of start from scratch, see what goes on.
However, as could be expected in a tournament with America's best bass fishermen, not everyone was disappointed in their performance.
Well, I feel I'm pretty confident on the Arkansas River. I'm more at home here. I understand, hopefully I understand how to fish the current. You know, it'll be told at the end of the weigh-in whether I do or not. But with the changing water levels the way it is, I think it's going to work to some of the people's advantage to have experience on the river.
Wednesday, the day of the second practice round, paralleled the first round and had many of the anglers questioning their fish catching abilities.
I didn't do very well. As everybody has been doing, it's been slow. I mean, you know, you get a few bites, and I'm not sticking anything because I don't want to take a chance on it. If the fish are there, I know it's going to take every fish you can get.
The water had cleared somewhat, but the current was still strong. Many fishermen changed their fishing areas this day in hopes of finding fish-holding structure. As day 2's practice wore on, a few anglers began to find fish, like Jerry Speed, who lured this nice bass from brush piles flipping a jig and pig. As the practice round came to a close, David Fritz seemed to sum up most anglers' feelings when he said that 20 pounds of bass may literally blow the competition away.
It's tough out there. I haven't really found anything in practice, but the river's changing, and what you got to do, you just got to go out there and start all over.
With the anglers preparing for the opening round of competition on Friday, there were 2 schools of thought on how to approach the tournament. With the unstable water conditions and the forecasted cold weather headed for Little Rock, conditions didn't seem right for a huge catch. Some anglers would fish conservatively or defensively, trying to catch a few keeper fish to stay in the running the first day and go for broke on day 2. The only chink in this defensive armor would be if someone came to the first day weigh-in with a big catch. If that happened, it might be too late to play catch-up. The other philosophy was to go for broke from the start. The Arkansas River had been known to produce some very heavy tournament catches. These anglers reasoned that they had 2 days to make just one of those catches. If they could just connect, they could possibly win the All-American with 1 day's catch. Changing weather conditions, unstable water, and finicky fish. This Redman All-American would be a supreme test of the angler's skill and fortitude. Friday morning, the first day of competition. Most were quiet, subdued as they played over their strategies in their minds. What would this cold weather do to fishing? What bait would be effective? Would it pay to gamble, lock through, and make the long run downriver to better water? And one by one, as the anglers moved away from shore, everyone knew that the time for talk was over. As the early morning crowd huddled to keep warm, watching, wondering who might win, who might not, who's on fish and who's not, the story would soon begin to unfold downriver in pool number 5. Here, O.T. Fears was taking an early lead with fish like this, coming from one of 2 areas he had discovered in practice. One of his bass would later tip the scales at 6 pounds, 2 ounces. While Fears was putting it all together, pre-tournament favorites weren't faring as well. David Langley was unable to land a fish, while Joe Yates, the 1986 champion, and Johnny Langford were within an ounce of each other, but well behind the leaders. Ron Shuffield was having a better day. 70 miles downriver in the Slackwater Harbor area of Pine Bluff, James Allen was on fish, good fish. Allen, whose 4 fish total 15 pounds, would begin the final day in 2nd place. While Allen and Fears were probing the slightly cleared waters downstream, Ray Bargee was successfully fishing the wing dams upriver, landing one of only 2 limits that day. His weight of 13 pounds, 3 ounces put him in 4th place going into Saturday's final round. The youngest angler in the All-American, 21-year-old Mike Reynolds, continued his year-long hot streak, which carried him through California's rugged Western Division and wound up in 7th place at the close of day 1. Bob Mosier landed the big fish of the first day, a 6-pound, 5-ounce beauty that had the crowd roaring its approval. When O.T. Fears reached the convention center weigh-in, the crowd was ready. Word had spread that Fears had had a very good day. How good? 1 for the Redman All-American record books, 5 bass, and a one-day All-American weight record of 21 pounds, 9 ounces gave Fears a commanding 6-pound, 9-ounce lead over James Allen. But Allen was on a big fish pattern.
15 pounds, 4 ounces. I tell you, I've heard predictions, James, that it might take only 20, 22, 24, 25 pounds to win the whole thing. Here's 15 pounds right here. Look at that fish, beautiful fish.
At the end of Friday's round 1 action, the leaderboard had O.T. Fears out in front and 4 other seasoned veterans still within striking distance, and several others needing a record-setting performance to get back into contention.